Welcome to On Thick Ice, a podcast about navigating relationship intricacies by two people who are just trying to make one work. I'm Emily.
And I'm John. Each week, we'll be tackling the pressing issues we all face in our relationships but rarely address head on. All right, so for this week, we are going to be addressing age gaps in relationships, which is kind of appropriate because Emily and I, for those of you who don't know, which is probably all of you, because this is our maybe second, third,
episode?
fourth. I don't know how they're going to play out. So we'll just let it run. We have an 11-year age gap in our relationship, and it's had its challenges, but all in all, I think it's been okay. Emily?
You want to guess who's older?
Me? Do I want to guess? Yes, it's Emily. Yes. Emily is the older one
Yes.
by 11 years.
Emily's about to be 40.
Yes.
Not John.
No.
Definitely not John.
No. It's 2 months, right?
It's 2 months. So yeah, we are 11 years apart. We met when I was 22 and John was 33. So I think we're experts on this. I think we've got it down pat.
Yeah, experts, novice, beginner, children still. I don't know. We can talk about that part later. But yeah, so, doing some research on this topic, it was made very clear quickly that we are outside of the norm.
Are we now?
Yes, we are. Apparently, once you breach that 7-year gap, that's when things start to get weird, they say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that explains a lot.
That's when age gap related, I guess, just upbringing or, backgrounds or even things you learn in school, which me and you have also noticed, are different. So I think it probably has more to do with the public perception of what's acceptable, but
Right.
I just find it really funny that there's an acceptable range of age gaps that people apparently go by, but I don't know. Anyways, what do you think about age gap?
Let me just preface, we're talking about adults here, adult age gaps.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let's put that out there. So in terms of having an acceptable range, I get it. And also, I think it's stupid.
Yeah.
Because there is kind of you see certain people and you're like, okay, is that your dad or is that your husband?
Yeah.
But is that really my place to judge? Probably not. But am I going to judge anyway? I mean, yeah, obviously.
So it's funny. I didn't even think about this until just now, but when I was in one of my earlier relationships, I was, God, how old was I? I was in the 18 range, something like that. And I started dating a girl that was 5 years older than me. And that was so weird.
Really?
And maybe it was just because I was younger. It definitely was quite a bit different, but she was also in the military.
Okay.
So I don't think that helped.
Right. Yeah.
That's
its own weird
That
thing.
was just weird in general. And she was out of her fucking mind. So
I'm surprised you didn't get married.
no, that was not going to happen. There was a lot. Yeah, it was bad.
Right.
Bad relationships.
Right. So was she a cougar?
No.
No.
She wasn't. She was 5 years older than me.
I'm just asking, do you remember, I feel like you probably don't remember because you're older than me, but 2009.
Hey, wait, no, you're older than me.
Right, okay.
Yes.
2009 was the year of divorces. Everybody got divorced in 2009. All my friends' parents who are divorced now got divorced. John and Kate plus 8 got divorced. It was divorce city. And I think that's when the rise of the cougar happened. That's when older women started dating younger men and it became a thing. There was that show Cougar Town, Isn't that weird?
Well, maybe we need to do some on the spot research about when cougars became cougars.
Well, how old were you in 2009? You weren't 18.
No.
You were a lot older than 18.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I was 18 in 2000. I mean, you were 18.
I was in kindergarten in 2000.
Oh, there we go. Not to make it weird or anything.
See, yeah, that's when it gets weird when you talk about stuff like that, when I was a kid and you were an adult. But we didn't meet till we were adults, so it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. I mean, and even with you being 22, that's still kind of borderline considering societal acceptance.
Yeah. So I think had I been even just 20, if I had been 20 and you had been 31, I think that would have been weird. I think that if I can't go to a bar with you and order a drink, then you probably shouldn't be dating me, honestly. You know, like I know 22 is like on the borderline, but I really think like even if it was just like same age gap, just like shifted.
I'm going to just stop you right there.
Okay.
If I had the opportunity to take a girl to a bar and not have to buy her drinks, I'm in. I'm in.
Well, no, I get it because I get to take you to bars and not buy you drinks.
Yes. That's true, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing that I found that was kind of funny about this whole topic, and I think I'm going to start a petition, and I hope our audience will follow.
Okay.
So when you think about older women
Mm-hmm.
dating younger men,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot less negative.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is what we were saying earlier, cougars.
Mm-hmm.
Cougar. I mean, that's a cool name. Like that's really neat, right? Like being a cougar. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But women are looked at as cougar or revolutionary
Okay.
for dating younger men.
Okay.
This is based on an article I found. I don't remember which one it was, but this is just what I found, and it rings true. Older men dating younger women, we are considered alpha males because we're doing that, or predatory.
Okay.
Okay. I don't like that. I think that's bullshit. Why is it revolutionary for women to date younger men, but it's predatory for men to date younger women?
I mean, I get what you're going for there, but like also, cougar is a predatory animal. It's just a cooler way of saying predator.
Well, it's just not looked at as negatively.
Not always. You're right.
And that's kind of how I feel about it. And I think personally, I think today I need to make a new name for older men dating younger women.
Okay.
I haven't decided what that is yet. So as we go through this process, I'm going to define it. And by the end, I'm going to have my petition ready. I'm going to write a letter, and we're going to make this happen.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
I'm going to get a t-shirt.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I think you are right that there is a more negative connotation for men dating younger women, but I also think it's more acceptable. It happens more often. Well, I don't know if it happens more often, but it seems like it happens more often. You've got tons of celebrities who specifically date younger women. I have one that I'm going to talk about later. I don't know. Like, I feel like when you hear that, you know, someone's wife is older than them, like a man's wife is older than them, it always like is met with something. Like it's either met with like a little weirdness or like a oh lucky guy, like, you know, it's not as common. There's also just in general more gross men who are predators than there are gross women.
I don't know.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay, so tell me your experience as a man then.
You know, I think what this really boils down to is we go back to the whole like equality thing. I think that has a lot to do with it, and the way that the history of men and women and rights and what women are allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. I think that really brings the negative connotation in with it. So it kind of sucks. I mean, you know, things are changing, but the old adage of, you know, just men seeking younger women just because they can, I don't think is dead. So I think that there's just a stigma that kind of comes with older men dating younger women versus older women dating younger men.
Right.
When you think older woman dating younger man, what do you think?
I mean, I think good for him for broadening his horizons in his dating pool.
I instantly go to school teacher dating a student.
Okay. Wow.
That's just like where my brain went. I don't know why. I can't answer why that went there. That's what popped in my head.
Okay.
That's negative to me.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So why am I still being predatorized?
Have you experienced? Has anybody ever called you a predator for dating me that I don't know of?
Your mom.
Well, fuck my mom.
First time I met your mom. Why are you dating my 22-year-old daughter?
Yeah, well, my mom's a dumbass. So.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, honestly, I think we could go back and forth all day long about whether or not relationships are weird or creepy or the stigma around them and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you know, you don't, as long as you're two consenting adults, like, there's no room for judgment from other people. Like, obviously, we're going to judge as a society anyway, but like, who are we to say what's right and wrong?
We won't.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
But we will test ourselves. So, what I want to do
Mhm.
is I want to, like, before we dig into like any of the age gaps or the intricacies of navigating those waters and all of that good stuff, I want to do like a little simple, honest test.
Okay.
I want to gauge your thoughts
Mhm.
on different age gaps
Okay.
that I've identified
Okay.
and figure out, how do we feel about that?
Mhm.
Just instant jerk reaction.
Okay.
So that's what I want. I want the jerk reaction.
Mhm.
For the first age gap,
Mhm.
let's do female is 18, male is 25.
Don't like it.
No?
No.
Why?
Because I think when you're 18, you're still a child.
Fair
You're
enough.
still in high school, probably, or you're just starting college. Like, the law says you're an adult, but like, looking back, I was not an adult when I was 18. I was a kid.
Yeah. Well, let's flip this one.
Okay.
Okay. So female's 25,
Mhm.
male is 18.
I still don't like it. I think when you're 18, you're a child. I don't like it.
Yeah. And for me, I flipped on this one.
Mhm.
So I think that that's weird. I'm
Yeah.
thinking to myself, what's wrong with this woman?
Right.
Why is she dating a weird ass,
Right.
young,
Right.
immature douche tool?
Right. And then for when the man is older, to me, I'm thinking like there's so much grossness about like men like counting down the days until celebrities turn 18 and stuff like that. Like you just have to think that he probably knew her before she turned 18 and was just waiting
Right.
to not be considered a creep. That's where my mind goes.
That's fair.
Because I was hit on by a lot of creeps when I was that age and younger.
Fair enough. So next one, female 22, male 25.
Fine.
Same. Backwards.
Fine.
Same. 22 and 32. Female young, male old.
I mean, I would be a hypocrite if I didn't say fine.
Yes, you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I have thoughts about that one because I am that one.
Yeah.
So, all right, flip it. Female 32, male 22.
Still fine. I mean, like, gut reaction, like, kind of weird. Just because, like, I would want nothing to do with a 22-year-old right now, but, like, still fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
Fair enough. All right, let's take it up a notch.
Okay.
Female 22,
Mhm.
male 50.
Don't
No?
like it. Don't like it.
No?
No.
Interesting.
Don't like it.
Alright.
There's not, nothing's going good there on either side.
Fair enough. What about the opposite?
Still don't like it.
No?
No.
Interesting.
It's too much.
All right.
There's no common ground there.
So now we're going to get a little weird.
Okay.
We're going in the lower age ranges
Okay.
because obviously there is a gap between what we consider acceptable in the adulthood and what we consider acceptable in childhood.
Mhm.
So, how about a 13-year-old versus a 16-year-old?
No. Again, just two completely different phases of life.
Yes. 100% agreed.
Doesn't matter what the gender.
And now take it up a little bit, 16 to 19.
That's a gray area to me. I think it depends on a lot of things, but I'm going to say no. Because again, I was hit on by a lot of 19, 20, 21-year-olds when I was 16, and looking back, it grosses me out.
I have mixed feelings about this one. I was this person as
Mhm.
well, many, many moons ago.
Mhm.
And it wasn't weird per
Mhm.
se. I mean, I guess because I was in it,
Mhm.
but it's still like when you're telling the story later in life, it's like, oh, she was 15, you were 18. It's like, yeah, that sounds bad, doesn't it?
It's all about nuance, because if you met when you were 16 and 19, that gives me an icky feeling, but then if you think about it the other way, like 15 and 18, you're a sophomore and a senior in high school. So
Right.
you know what I mean? So it just depends. It depends on the situation, but again, gut reactions just no.
Right. So, what's funny about this little quiz,
Mhm.
if you will, your thought process actually kind of falls in line with common society
Okay.
because in most cases, there is really no big questions once you go past that 21
Mhm.
age range.
Yeah.
Once you go past 21, your gap is in the 7-ish year range,
Mhm.
which is acceptable,
Mhm.
socially acceptable, I suppose. But once you breach that, and we did it in a more extreme sense with the 22 to 50,
Yeah.
that's when society starts to question why are you dating somebody so far outside of your
Right.
age?
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely it's interesting that it played out that way.
Yeah. At the end of the day, there's going to be people, there's going to be relationships that have age gaps in them. So if you're in a relationship where you have an age gap, how do you deal with it? Do you make it a thing, or do you, just go with it? I think that we just go with it. But I found this article, 8 ways to bridge the age gap. This is from bridesmagazine.com. And I thought it was kind of weird. I want to go through some of this because some of it is just like good sense in general, and some of it I feel like is for they're anticipating like a much larger age gap, or maybe I'm just thinking of it this way because we don't really think about it. But anyway, so these are the 8 things that they suggest to bridge the age gap in your relationship. 1, share expectations. So like an older man might want his younger wife to have a child while she's focused on other things like her career, and that can cause issues, which that happened with our friends. So that does happen if you're not on the same page about stuff like that right off the bat. That can cause issues. This is just good sense for anybody, but like for us it was the opposite kind of thing. You came right out and said, I don't want to have kids. I'm not going to have kids. Like that was within like the first couple of weeks of us being together. And me being 22 years old and never having thought about it, I suddenly had to decide, kind of if that was something that was important to me. And luckily I figured, well, it doesn't really matter because I don't really want to have kids either. So that might be something you have to think about. Like if you don't, when you have a bigger age gap, you don't necessarily have the luxury of time when it comes to bigger decisions like that. So you got to keep that in mind. Number 2 is to accept the other person's differences. So the older person might be set in their career while the younger person is still trying to figure things out and really hustle. And that can be hard when you feel like you're not on the same level. And that is something that I deal with personally because you are like a rock star and I'm just like a person.
Well, I think a lot goes into that. I think for me, like I accepted the fact that you weren't necessarily fleshed out.
Right.
I knew that. Obviously you were 22 when we got together. So I know what I was like then, and the discovery process that I had to go through to figure out who the fuck I was. So I really think that I knew that already. But I also feel that I'm unique in that arena.
Yeah, I would think so too. Maybe I think you're just a good person, and if other people are good people too, then they'll realize that. And then for me, being the younger one, like I have to deal with a sense of jealousy sometimes, but then also on the flip side of that, I feel like I get a lot to look forward to. Like I'm gonna be turning 30. A lot of my friends are freaking out about the fact that they're turning 30, but I'm looking forward to it because I got to see you in your 30s. Just how much fun you had and all the things that happened over the course of, I was with you for almost the entire decade. So,
yeah,
so you got that to consider as well. Just accepting the fact that you're probably not going to be on the same wavelength for everything all the time. And you just got to deal with that.
Yes.
Number 3 is kind of funny to me. I don't know why, but consider your role as a caretaker. If you're getting with someone and you're thinking about forever, you have to consider, especially as the younger one, you might have to take care of your aging partner one day. It's not going to be an issue for us because I'm going to die first. But in all seriousness, like
because I'm going to kill her.
Right, exactly.
Not really.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
Allegedly.
Not even that.
But like in all seriousness, like if you have a 10, 15, 20-year age gap, like you do have to consider the fact that you might have to diaper your partner one day. If you're considering forever, you're not going to be the same age. You're not going to be experiencing elderliness at the same rate. Probably. Number 4, maturity is relative. So if you're the younger partner, avoid referring to them as a boomer or an old timer. And this is just gross to me. I don't know. If you're the older partner, realize your significant other is a full-grown adult. Like, yeah, I fucking hope so. I hope you don't see them like they're not an adult. That'd be kind of weird.
I get it.
And avoid scolding them like a child.
I think that also goes both ways because for me, I try to be very mindful of that, and I really don't like try to bring age into the conversation when it comes to experience or things that I might have done that you hadn't done, things along those lines. So I try to be open-minded about it. I do think that it's very easy to misinterpret what I say from your perspective because you are the younger end.
Right.
And I know you do this and you can't even deny it.
No, I do. I totally do.
You always think that I am trying to talk down to you or whatever that is. And that is not my intent at
Mhm.
all. I do think that you misinterpret a lot of my communication style
Mhm.
by using crap like this that you're reading right now,
Uh-huh.
where society says, oh, well, he must be talking down to you because he's older than you.
Right.
And that's not always the case.
Right.
If we were equal age, I would still be saying the same things.
Yeah, sometimes you're just talking down to me because you're a douche, not because you're older than me.
Oh, shut up. No. It's because I know better and I've done this and I've screwed that up many, many times in my history.
Yeah. Well, does this mean I have to stop calling you old?
No.
Okay.
No, that's okay.
Because you're not a boomer, so I'm not calling you a boomer. But
No,
like,
I'm what, like year one millennial?
you're an elder millennial.
Yeah.
And
Is that it?
Yeah, and
Huh.
I'm a younger millennial. We're literally on opposite ends of the spectrum. Like
Right.
you're like the first year, and I'm like the last year.
Right.
Okay, another one that's just good sense for everybody. Identify mutual interests. See, that's where I feel like with the super, like the 22 to 50-year-old, like what do you have in common with a 50-year-old when you're 22? Like nothing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're 22 years old and you're going to date a 50-year-old man, like you might as well get used to watching Wheel of Fortune and going to bed at 7 p.m.
Or Gold Rush.
Or Gold Rush.
Discovery and Gold Rush.
Yeah, my boomer husband single-handedly keeping the Discovery Channel alive with his Gold Rush. Number 6.
Don't judge me. I can feel all of you judging me. All of you.
Okay, number 6.
And Discovery, if you're listening, you owe me a check.
Number 6. Create some space. So basically hang out with people your own age, have friends outside of the relationship, etc. Again, just good sense for anybody, but I mean, you don't have friends, so.
Yeah, I definitely can say that earlier in the relationship,
Mhm.
that took some adjusting.
Yeah.
When it came to you being in your social setting,
Mhm.
me being in my social setting.
Right.
They were completely opposite
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I was fully in love with your social setting when we first met.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily understand it, and it was like pre-adjustment.
Yeah.
We hadn't adjusted to each other yet, and it's a process that
Yeah.
has to happen if you're going to have an age gap over 7 years, I guess.
Number 7, face uncertainty. I don't really know what they're trying to say by this because it went on to say, don't let the age gap become the elephant in the room. Communicate and make sure you're on the same page and want the same things. I don't know how that's facing uncertainty.
I think it's more just kind of putting the cards on the table, like
Right.
right up front.
Right.
Like, we know that there's going to be differences. Let's
Mhm.
address those differences and figure out if we're still going to be compatible in the end,
Right.
because that's obviously a big part of this.
Gotcha. Okay, fair enough. And then number 8, respect the relationship. Don't blame all of your problems on the age gap. This hasn't really been an issue for us yet, I don't think. Maybe now that you're turning 40.
Yeah, I mean, things might change.
Yeah.
There could be a switch flipped inside of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for us, I don't really think about it all that often. I mean, maybe I did more in the beginning, but now I don't. It comes up sometimes with like certain things, like when I make a SpongeBob reference and you have no idea what I'm talking about. Or like that time that I convinced you that I didn't know what what a voicemail thing was. What is it? An answering machine? Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
I pretended like I didn't know what an answering machine was and I let you explain it to me for like 20 minutes.
I don't know if I knew you were pretending.
I
But,
was born in the 90s. I know what an answering machine is.
well, you didn't know what a modem was.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
I
so
think that's just because I'm stupid.
possibly. But yeah, you didn't know what a modem was, and if I put you in front of a rotary phone, you'd probably play the same game the kids on YouTube were doing when they tried to learn that.
No, I know a rotary phone too. That's the one where you gotta drag it around, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know that.
yeah. Well, it was still fun trying to watch those kids do it.
Yeah, I feel like I just don't even really think about it.
Yeah, I really don't either.
It comes up, but like it's never in anything serious. Like it's been I feel like the reason we've been doing this right now is it's about to be your birthday. You're about to be 40 and I'm still going to be in my 20s.
She's about to be 40.
John's about to be 40. And I'm turning 29 in December. We've talked about this, or at least I have talked about this particular year, this particular birthday for as long as I could remember because I just always thought it was going to be so funny that you were going to be in your 40s and I was still going to be in my 20s. And it makes me think of your first birthday that we spent together. and you were turning 34, and I brought the cake to the bar, and I had the number candles, and I told Sam to throw them out, and she was like, "Oh, like, don't you want to save them for when you turn 34?" And I started cracking up because I was like, "He's gonna be 43 before I turn 34."
That's so messed up. So messed up.
It's true though.
Math, you've deceived me again. Yeah, so one thing that I was interested in was thinking about like back in the day when things were different when it came to age gaps,
Mhm.
right? I don't know. I guess my perception of age gaps back then was a lot different.
Are you talking about like old school or like when you were a kid?
No, like old school, like
Okay.
early 1900s,
Okay, yeah,
things
yeah.
like that. It just seemed that marriage was just accepted earlier on. But I did some research, and the age gap is average wise
Mhm.
is actually almost identical.
Really?
Yeah, from today to 100 years ago, which was very odd. I did not expect that.
Well, I maybe just because everybody was getting married younger.
Well, I was
Like-
expecting it to be like younger,
Oh, okay.
but it wasn't. It really, it kind of, I was a little off put by that. Because
Okay.
I thought I recall like younger women, in like
Mhm.
the 15, 16
Mhm.
range, like having children and getting married and,
I think
all of these things.
we probably have a skewed view of that because I think both of our parents and grandparents possibly were all married young.
Yeah.
You
Yeah. I know.
Like our parents had us young, and I think their parents had them young too.
Yeah.
So it gives you kind of a skewed view. But like my friends' parents and stuff, like they're not as young as my parents are.
Right. One thing I did find that was somewhat interesting though was it was more common for older men to marry younger women,
Right.
and there were reasons for that.
Mhm.
Basically, the man wanted to get himself established so that he could support a family
Right.
before getting into that.
Mhm.
So he would, get with, I don't know how that indicated needing to get with a younger woman.
Mhm.
But for some reason, like I didn't get under the hood of this, of the research that I did, but it seemed that was the reasoning for that. And then the secondary reason is a lot of women died through childbirth.
Right.
So the man had, the wife had died,
Mhm.
had the child, and then he would get with another younger woman
Mhm.
so that he could have another child, and
Mhm.
that she was capable of actually
Surviving.
managing
Yeah.
the existing child.
Right. And to the first thing that you said, I think probably part of the reason that an older man might be marrying a younger woman, like back then, or maybe even still now, is that it's okay for a man to be single in his 30s or whatever. It's not okay for a woman to be single. Like that's the societal expectation, right? Like single women are seen as sad and lonely, cat ladies. Men are seen as bachelors or getting his shit together before he settles down. So that probably had a lot to do with it too.
Right.
Was that the pressure on behalf of a woman to find a husband when she's 19, 20, 21 years old.
Yeah, no, I actually read that too. So that's a good point. Another thing I did find was it had a lot to do with education.
Okay.
Females were not getting education
Mhm.
back in the day. So men were in classes,
Mhm.
but the females weren't necessarily interacting with their peers.
Right. Okay.
So that was also an indicator as to why women might be getting with older men. And it also had a lot to do with the shift of women and men closing the age gap
Right.
as females were more accepted in school and
Right.
they were mingling with their peers on a more regular cadence. So that seemingly had a little bit to do with the shift of, age gap, which I guess didn't actually exist
Mhm.
based on what I saw.
Right.
I wish I could find the numbers. It was something that I just saw in passing,
Mhm.
and I wasn't going to go back to it, but it kind of just found its way into this conversation. So,
Mhm.
yeah, and apparently the half your age plus 7 was the standard back then.
I mean, that's even on Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Like that's Andy and April,
Hmm.
because they bring up the half your age plus 7, and I had never heard of that. I think until Parks and Rec.
Yeah, that was that was a real thing. Yeah, it says nowadays it's used as a minimum, but then it was used as the target. Or
Interesting.
yeah, it was a little bit interesting. So thinking about what problems exist
Okay, yeah.
with age gaps
Hmm.
and how that can kind of have bleed into the relationship or expose more like underlying issues.
Hmm.
So one of the big things, and this is, I guess, why men are seen as predatory,
Okay.
which I still don't like,
Yeah, I know.
and I still haven't found a good word. But
Listen, there are a lot of predatory men out there.
I know, I get it, I understand. I don't like
The
being
stigma.
in that group. Okay,
Okay.
I'm just gonna be awesome. How about
Okay.
that?
All right.
So the one thing about the older man seeking the younger woman was finding a partner that
Hmm.
was malleable.
Okay, yeah. Like someone that you can form to what you want them to be.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
they haven't had a lot of experience, they
Mhm.
haven't had a lot of time served, if you
Mhm.
will. So the idea is the man can control the female,
Mhm.
and I mean, basically, I mean, I guess the worst case scenario is basically make them a zombie slave
Right.
to
Yeah.
them in the relationship.
Right.
So yeah, that was one of the big things that I think puts the negative connotation on older men
Mhm.
trying to get with younger women. Because I think the average, like if you were to go and ask 100 men that were over 50, what would their target partner
Mhm.
age range be? They would say 20 to 25.
Wow, I've already aged out of that.
You're lucky. There you go. You are no longer prey. You are approaching Cougarville.
I've got old bitch privilege.
Yes. You have now served your time.
Dude, it's so true though. Like the amount of adult men who would hit on me and like honk at me and do all sorts of stuff when I was like 15 to 21. Like I feel like I turned 22 and it just like dropped right off.
That's because you were with me.
No.
Everybody always thought you were with your dad.
I don't think anybody thought that. You weren't that great back then.
I feel like it's more so now. Like anywhere we go, like I think it was proven the other day. You never get carded when you're with me.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I never, ever, ever get carded
Yeah.
when I'm with you.
But when
And
you're
then
not with me,
I get carded.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. That's very true.
yes. So ladies, if you are under 21, find yourself a guy who's approaching 40. I guess it works.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, so this is an interesting scenario. This couple here they have a 33-year age gap.
Oh my goodness.
They've been with each other for 3 years,
Okay.
and so the male is the older portion of the relationship. Basically, he is older than her parents
Jeez.
and has children that are older than she is.
Gross.
But apparently, they just function as a normal family. But I that one portion of it
Mhm.
is just so foreign to me. Like I just don't think I could be with somebody who had children older than
Yeah.
me.
No.
That would just be so weird.
You were creating life before I was thought of. That's gross.
Yeah.
That's like what's their name? Catherine McPhee and David Foster Wallace, who I know you don't know, but they were
Yeah.
on The Masked Singer. They were the banana split on The Masked Singer.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I guess. But yeah, I don't know how much older he is than her, but I do know he has a daughter that's her age.
Yeah, I just don't think I could do that. That would just be so awkward.
Can you imagine being the daughter? That creeps me out. Like to be like if I found out my dad was dating someone my age, I'd be like, why are you looking at someone my age like that? Like that's gross.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like an extension of being there throughout their childhood. Like you might not have been there for their childhood, but you were there for your childhood. So, you know, it's a hop, skip, and a week from grossness.
Do you buy them the same things for their birthday?
Right. Like what? Do they hang out? I don't know. This was weird to me. I don't like it.
Yeah. I don't think I could deal with it. So when it comes to teachers and students and
Mhm.
that type of relationship, there's a lot of different scenarios that kind of go into that.
Okay.
One of which is obviously they're canoodling while they are actively
Yeah.
in school
Yeah.
still.
Which
The
happened at my
other,
middle school.
what's that?
That happened at my middle school.
Right,
Mhm.
right. And then you have those that kind of felt something
Mm-hmm.
in the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and they run into each other again later in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have those that are waiting for the other person to graduate,
Right.
which is probably the most creepy of all.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about each one of those scenarios?
Okay, well, I actually have 3 stories that I will tell you, and I will be quick about it. When I was in middle school, we had a building substitute teacher. He was fresh out of college, he was 23, and everybody thought he was really cool. In hindsight, he was really creepy. He would rub your back while you were, asking him questions. And it turns out that he was hooking up, well, he was statutory raping 2 ninth graders. He got arrested at our chorus concert and ended up killing himself before he went to trial. So that's really creepy, and I feel like unfortunately those 2 girls ended up being the victims of a bunch of slut shaming on the parts of a ton of other middle schoolers, because that's just what happens. Like, the girls got the blame for it. I think that's gross and not right. For the next one, when you think maybe there's a spark or whatever, there was a girl that I went to high school with who now she's like a model and like an international DJ. Like, became really famous. She was gorgeous when we were in high school, and you could always tell there was like 1 or 2 male teachers who would flirt with her, and it's not her fault, but she would entertain it, and it was just gross. It was creepy, because then we graduated, and then that's when everybody, you add your favorite teachers on Facebook. They finally think it's okay or whatever, and then all of a sudden you see her Instagram, and the first person to like it every single time she posts a picture is the teacher that used to flirt with her in English class or whatever. Like, it's just icky. And my high school physics teacher married one of his students when she was a freshman in college. So she was in his class when she was a senior in his physics class. She graduated. She went to college. He met up with her. They got married when she was 19. So, again, gross.
Yes, icky.
There's no good way to go about that.
Yeah, I know. And that's kind of like how I felt about it as well. And I feel like I would be a little more accepting of like the meeting later in life and them, maybe there was some like underlying sexual tension, in class, obviously never pursued, but, they run into each other 10 years later.
Right.
And then they're like, oh, okay, well, this could work.
Right.
I feel like I'd be a little more accepting to that, but
Yeah.
I still feel like it's weird.
I think it's weird if there's ever any sexual tension on the part of the teacher, because when you're 15, 16 and you're just a dumb, horny teenager, you don't know any better. Like, that's fine. I was in love with my high school teacher. I was in love with him, and I would try to flirt with him all the time. And he never ever reciprocated, obviously, because he wasn't a creep. Like, he just, he never was a thing, whatever. If I wasn't married to you and I ran into him on the street now, 10 years later, and for whatever reason, he decided he liked me and whatever, that wouldn't creep me out, because there's enough distance. And when I was younger, he was not interested because I was a child. If it was the situation with like the teachers who flirted, and then they met up 10 years later, I still think that's an issue, because you knew them when they were a child and you had sexual feelings about them when they were a child.
Right. Yeah.
That's where I fall there. I happen to have a lot of these personal experiences with the teacher thing, though, so maybe I might be a little more strict with my feelings about it, but that's just how I feel.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay, so earlier you gave me that little test. You asked me my feelings about different age gaps and how I felt about all that kind of stuff. I'm going to do kind of the same thing here. I have a couple celebrity couples here. So I'm going to give you their age gap, a little bit of context about their relationship, and I want you to tell me just if you think, like, on a scale of totally fine, like iffy but okay, or just fucking creepy, okay? And just gut reaction off of what I tell you here.
Yep.
All right? So I'm going to start with George and Amal Clooney. So George Clooney is 17 years older than his wife Amal. They met when he was 51 and she was 34. They got married a year later in 2016, and they now have twins.
Seems fine.
Okay, that's how I feel too. Leonardo DiCaprio and Camila Morrone. They have a 23-year age gap. They've been together for 3 years. They started dating when Leo was 42 and she was 19, and Leonardo DiCaprio has never had a girlfriend over the age of 25.
Yeah, I think that's pushing the creepy boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I used to really be in love with Leonardo DiCaprio, and then I turned 26 and realized I was no longer in his dating pool. I don't like it anymore.
Does that mean I'm out of his dating pool?
You are so far out of his dating pool.
Oh, God, that just ruined my day.
Your one chance.
Leo, I'll never forget you.
Oh, God. That's a great movie. Okay. Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas. They have an 11-year age gap. She's 39 and he's 28, so same as us. They dated for 2 months and then got married in 2019, and now they have one daughter.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
The only part that gives me pause is the 2 months thing.
That shit happens all the time.
Yeah.
That's not going to change my opinion about their age gap.
Right.
That's a completely different topic.
Okay. I guess I just think because she's the one that's older and they got married so quick, it's like, okay, was it because you genuinely just loved each other, were excited to get married, or is this a biological clock thing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Could be.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I like her. I think she's really cool, so whatever. I'm on an iffy but okay with them. I've got just a few more. Scott Disick and Sophia Richie. So Scott Disick is part of the Kardashian clan, because I know that you don't know who he is.
You're right.
And Sophia Richie is a model, I think. They have a 15-year...
She was on the show with Paris Hilton, wasn't she?
No, that's Nicole Richie.
Oh, okay. My bad.
You're good.
This is a live example of age gap.
Yes. Okay, so they have a 15-year age difference. They started dating when he was 34 and she was 19. She was 10 years old when Scott's first son was born.
I still like... I'm still having a problem with the 19-year-old thing.
Mm-hmm.
How big was the gap again?
15 years. So he was 34.
15. Yeah, I mean that's borderline creepy, but the thing that I'm having a problem with right now is when it comes to celebrities, I don't, and no offense to celebrities, I don't see them the same way as us. I feel like they live in a different land when it comes to relationships and maturity. So if you put those two on different pedestals, so you look at the maturity aspect of things, a lot of like your child stars or like early teen stars, they're forced to kind of like skip childhood a little bit. And they do kind of expedite that maturity aspect a little bit. I in some cases, obviously you have your Justin Bieber, but you know, it is what it is. And then women are, in my opinion, more mature at that age. So I have a lot of conflict in this celebrity guest match thing.
So I'm going to disagree with you because I think the fact that a lot of celebrities are forced to skip over their childhood makes it creepier because they are more malleable to an adult.
They've already been amooled.
A lot of the times, the adult knew them when they were a child too.
Yeah.
But anyway.
That's fair.
We'll move on. Dennis Quaid and Lauren Savoy. So 39-year age gap.
Whew.
He's 68 and she's 29. His previous girlfriend was 32 years younger than him.
She's 29, you said?
She's 29.
And
she's my age.
They got married when?
They're not married. It's just his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a really big age gap.
He's pushing 70.
Yeah. He is.
That's like me dating my grandma.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that puts me off most in that scenario is just like, and I don't envision this stuff
old man balls?
No, just the sex, like.
Yeah, old man balls.
Well, but that's not what I wasn't specifically talking about testicles, but yeah, that's where I start running into problems.
Yeah.
Because like for me, like I couldn't date somebody that was 20 years older than me right now.
Right.
That would just be really weird to me. I mean, unless it was like a Jennifer Aniston, like she kept herself up like really well.
Yeah.
Like you can't tell how old she is.
Yeah.
Or like a J-Lo or something.
Right.
Something with Jennifer's, man.
I know. But Jennifer, she's got it.
Right.
I'd fuck Jennifer Aniston.
I mean, there are edge cases. All right. So, That being said, and the discovery that we just made,
Uh-huh.
I think I'm okay with it.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. For me, I think it's the pattern.
But we're not talking about
We're
patterns.
not talking about
We're
patterns.
talking about age gaps.
Yeah, but there's a pattern of age gaps. But anyway,
So is he a predator?
I don't know. Is he? Maybe.
Oh my
All
goodness.
right, I'm going to end with my favorite, least favorite one. And this is
Favorite,
something.
least favorite?
Yeah. You might know this one because it's really famous, but you're also like pop culturally very stupid. So I'm expecting that you don't know.
There's a good chance you're right.
Okay. So, Woody Allen and Soon Yi. Are you aware?
Nope.
Okay, perfect. So, they have a 35-year age gap.
Okay.
They got together when she was 21 and he was 56. They've been together for 30 years, but they met when Woody was married to Soon Yi's mom.
Oh. I think I saw a movie about this once.
Yeah.
It was X-rated. But and there wasn't a delay in time. I think it happened in the same day.
Yeah, they met. She was a child, and he was married to her mom, Mia Farrow.
Wow.
Her adopted
Yeah, talk about old man balls.
Yeah.
Big man ball.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Mhm.
So is she still in the cave when he came out to clock the other one on the head with his club?
Yeah, Woody Allen is a fucking creep for many reasons, but I mean, he married his stepdaughter.
Yeah, that's... Huh.
I was really hoping that you didn't know this one. This is like the
No.
most famous case of
No, I did
celebrity
not.
creepiness.
I did not know that at all.
There's no nuance to me when an adult knows you as a child and spends time with you as a child, and then all of a sudden you're 18 and they want to marry you. That's fucking creepy. I'm sorry, there is no nuance there for me, just at all. So,
Yeah.
anyway, Woody Allen, totally fine, iffy but okay, or fucking creepy.
That one's... Well, hold on. Let's think about this. All right, let's dig in a little bit deeper here.
I do not want to do a deep dive on Woody Allen.
We
I
don't
think
have to do
so.
a deep dive on Woody Allen. I'm
This
wondering.
is pretty straightforward.
What did the mother die?
No, she's alive.
Okay. What's the relationship?
What, between the mother and daughter?
Like, was this like an unexpected like tag team between the mom and the daughter? Like, she was like, yeah, I'm like just too old to have sex with old man balls over here. So, I'm gonna grant you the power to satisfy old man ball.
He left Mia Farrow for her daughter when she was 21.
Wow. So are they still friends?
No.
Like the mother and daughter? No? Okay. So
No.
Everything went south.
Everything went south.
Right. Okay. So does she get child support?
No, you wouldn't get child support. She was
From her child?
No.
What? This is a weird scenario. I don't know what legal rights are involved in this one.
No.
She has to now pay her
No.
like alimony or fucking whatever.
I did not think this was going to warrant such questions. I
Well,
thought this was pretty straightforward.
there's a lot of things unspoken.
No, there's not.
They could be like a weird couple.
No, they're not.
But now I know that. So it's weird.
Yes.
All right.
No, it's not just weird.
It's fucking creepy.
It's fucking creepy.
All right.
And on that note, I need to log off. I need to go school you on Woody Allen.
Well, that's fine. We'll go watch a documentary.
Okay.
Old man balls.
I've seen that one too.
Why do we always gravitate to balls?
Balls.
How do we get here?
I don't know.
Every one of our damn conversations goes to balls. On Thick Ice is created, hosted, and produced by Emily and John Shacklet.
To join the conversation, follow us on Instagram and Twitter at OnThickIcePod, email us at onthickIcepod@gmail.com, or call our hotline 415-494-7275. Subscribe to On Thick Ice wherever you get your podcasts.